Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today is the first New Year's Day show of 2019. Happy New Year! And I'm bringing back old friend Genoveva Rossi. She's coming back on the show. We're just going to have a random chat. Not much thought into it. We're just going to have some fun chatting today and stuff. See what she's up to, what movies she's got out and stuff. And it's going to be pretty cool. It's the new year. I'm on a no sugar, no soda diet. And yesterday was a trip to hell and back. But today it's morning already and I feel good. So this diet will go smoothly. I got to get down the size for the spring, summer, and the rest of my life because I don't want to be fat ever again. So, here is my new interview with Genoveva Rossi. Genoveva?
Hey, Tommy. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. How the fuck are you?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. Did you have a nice New Year? Did you do anything exciting?
I found my neighbor's G-spot.
G-spot?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, that's better than most guys, probably.
Yeah.
Did you need a map? Or no?
No. I've been pretty sufficient at it since I was 10 years old.
10's a little young.
Well, it started out just watching. I was watching porno, learning how, and then when I was 12, I fingered my first girl. Yep.
Wow.
And it was in an arcade, too.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. We're pretty hardcore out here in California.
Guess so. So what did you want to talk about today?
Let's see. Last time we talked an awful lot about horror and stuff. What other movie genres do you like?
I watch all different kinds of movies, but I predominantly act in horror.
Yep.
I'm open to comedy and drama, which I've done as well a little bit, and I also do some theater, stuff like that. I just watched a movie last night that was a horror type movie. I just watched Nicolas Cage and Mandy last night.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that yet?
I heard about it. I've heard mixed things about it.
It was interesting. It was a very different movie for Nicolas Cage. Very different movie. It's definitely like nothing he's ever done before. So.
How is it compared to anything he's done before?
I don't know. The only other weird movie I can think of he did is Wild at Heart.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. Which is like a David Lynch movie.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's the only other thing I think I can compare it to. But I thought he gave a good performance, actually. I would honestly say I think it's one of his better acting roles in a while, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the horror genre does speak to Nick Cage. Somebody was telling me that he was originally cast as the villain character, but then they switched him. But he read the script and really wanted to play the main character, like the protagonist.
Yeah.
That spoke to him more. So there. It was a good performance by him because, people kind of criticize Nicolas Cage for sometimes, being pretty open to what kind of roles he takes and maybe not doing the best movies.
Yeah, does the money movies, for Jerry Bruckheimer.
Yeah, but this was, I think, a pretty good movie. It definitely was not a big money movie. I think it was just a few $1 million budget. And probably a lot of that went to Nicolas Cage. I think,
Yeah.
He's like the only really big name actor in it. But it was actually pretty good. Well, that's the struggle I think we all have as actors is, money versus quality versus whatever. It is like a job and it is a business. We all have bills to pay, so I can't blame Nicolas Cage for doing mainstream movies,
Yeah. But, you know, every once in a while, he should do something for artistic integrity. You know what I mean?
Well, definitely Mandy was, I think, one of those, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Okay, so do you have to start the recording? Do you have to,
I'm already
anything?
I'm already recording.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Artistic integrity, like, you know, Nicolas Cage, William Dafoe is like that. William Dafoe does a mix of things. Like, he does indie films, and then he does some pretty mainstream things, and you can tell he cares as an artist. Kevin Bacon, too, you know?
Yeah.
So, it's good to mix it up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and as you evolve as an actor, as I see it even with my own life, it becomes more and more of a business. Because, again, you do want to pay your bills, right?
Yeah.
So you do have to think about, you know, getting paid and, like, the business angle of all this. But then at the same time, you do want to feel like you're doing good work, you know?
Yeah. Something you're not going to be embarrassed by.
Yeah, but then, you know, at the same time, like, I always think Christopher Lee had a really great quote. His quote was, you know, all actors do bad movies. The trick is to never be bad in any movie. So it's like, and I think that's a good way to look at things, because you never know how the movie's going to come out in the end. If it's going to be a good movie, if it's going to be a bad movie or not. The only thing you have control over is your own performance.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just, as an actor, the main thing is to always make sure, you know, your performance is top notch. You know, maybe sometimes it'll even be the best moment in some of the films that you're in. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
But at least something that you're always proud of, then I think you can't do any wrong with that philosophy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Samuel L. Jackson follows that, too. Because as an actor, too, you don't want to be too picky about your roles, because you do love to act.
Right.
And it is a lot of fun. And you don't, I think, in my opinion, want to overthink, should I do this movie? Should I not do this movie? Because then you might end up passing up some really great opportunities. Sometimes opportunities or films don't always look like it's the best film in the whole wide world, but it ends up being a fantastic film. You just never know, you know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know? Yeah, you never know. Like you hear about a movie from someone, and you check it out, you read the script and everything, and you're like, and then you do it, and then it's finished, and sometimes things come out way better than you had ever visualized or anticipated, and you can't really always anticipate that, so I don't think you should overthink it. I think, you know, usually in life you should do things rather than not do things.
They say that there's no good scripts, only good movies. I don't know if that's entirely true, but it does sound like a good argument.
Well, that's a good point, because, you know what, Tommy, sometimes you can't really tell from the script to the film, you know, what's going to be a good film and what's not going to be, because so much can happen from the time the script's written to the time the films are done. It's a big, long process. And you could probably turn a lot of scripts into fantastic films with the right people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then also goes the other way. Like, you can have a fantastic script, you get the wrong people involved, and maybe they make some mistakes with editing or putting the film together, and you can end up destroying a film. You just can't really always predict that, you know?
Yeah.
I don't try to predict it. In my opinion, this is my opinion, if you're faced with a difficult choice and you don't know if you should do something or not do something, usually you should just do it. Better to regret what you have done than what you haven't.
Yeah. That's so
right?
true. Yeah. That's so true.
Yeah, you know, you don't want to overthink it, because I'm like in like 99 or 100 films, and, you know, and some of them are fantastic, and some of them are hilarious, and some of them are so bad they're good, and whatever.
Yeah.
But you don't want to overthink it, you know. I think they're all fun movies in the end, you know.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what it's about, having fun, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's your favorite type of movies, Tommy?
Well, let's see. I mean, obviously horror, but I also love comedy.
That was the right answer.
Comedy, sci-fi, musicals. That's where my gay side comes in.
Are you gay, Tommy?
I'm bisexual.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice that you're open to that. Okay, okay. Well, you know, I do like musicals as well. I would say my favorite musicals, Cabaret, which would appeal to your gay side for sure, and Bisexual Side. That's a great movie.
Yeah.
And then I love The Sound of Music.
Oh yeah, I love The Sound of Music. Oh my God, it's got such a great cast and great direction from Robert Wise.
Oh yeah, yeah. Both of them are beautiful. Musicals, very different, but really great. Well, both of them are similar in the sense they both take place kind of like in that World War II era.
Yeah.
Different perspectives on World War II, and I guess the beginning of Nazi Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Similarity, in theme between both of them.
Yeah.
Everything else is very different, though. So yeah, musicals. I like musicals. The Wizard of Oz also with Judy Garland is timeless.
Mm-hmm. I also love a good melodrama as long as it's not too sappy.
Okay. What's the last good melodrama you remember seeing? Old or new?
It's funny because I don't see too many nowadays. Just movies are just so terrible the way they're made nowadays. But like the classic ones, oh my God, there's so many. I mean, I love On Golden Pond.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Love that. God, I can't even think. There's so many good ones. But there's a lot of dramas. A lot of good dramas, though.
Gone with the Wind, probably one of the greatest ones
Oh yeah,
ever.
Gone with the Wind.
Casablanca was a really beautiful movie. I watched that a lot. Dr. Zhivago. We're getting to romantic movies kind of too, but
Geraldine Page's last movie, The Trip to Bountiful. I love that one.
Oh, I never saw that. Okay.
Oh, it's great. It was a stage play, and it's just it's a nice little hidden gem of a film. She won the Academy Award and then died a year later.
Oh wow! Well, at least she go out, at a high point,
I think she had won before though, but she really deserved it for that one because she's this, crazy eccentric old lady. You don't know if she's nuts or she's not, and she's just full of shit. She's just really, really good in it. But it's a great movie, yeah.
I don't watch as many movies as I should, because I'm so busy acting in movies and being involved in the movie industry that sometimes I don't end up watching TV and movies as much as you would think.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would say, in my private life, I tend to escape from movies, and I've been watching going to a lot of live concerts and things like that, because I don't do music, so music is an escape from my daily life,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's completely different than what I do. I'll go to a nightclub and go dancing, go out and see live music, maybe go see a belly dancing show. That's something completely different from what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like belly dancing?
I took classes years ago, so I know how to belly dance a little bit, and then sometimes I like to go and see that before. It's interesting. The culture, the food, and the music is all pretty cool. Yeah. How about you? Have you ever gone, Tommy?
I've never gone. I've seen it done, of course, but just never done it live.
Yeah, it's something fun to do. You should definitely go to a Middle Eastern restaurant and do a live belly dance show at some point. It's kind of this fun, I guess maybe some slightly erotic kind of interesting thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think belly dancing to Middle Eastern cultures like go-go dancing is to Americans. But, it's very tantalizing to them. The undulations and stuff. I guess it's very sensual. Maybe Americans don't really realize it as much because we're such an oversexed culture, perhaps comparatively. But it is really sensual and beautiful with the music and everything, and the costumes and the food. So it's kind of an interesting thing. I would recommend that as an experience someone should check out at least once. And then speaking of crazy things that I did this Christmas, another thing I like to go see that's completely removed from my life is I like to see drag shows. This probably appeals to your bisexual side. I took my friend Dusk to New Hope, Pennsylvania for Christmas to see a Christmas drag show and at this beautiful resort called The Raven in New Hope, Pennsylvania. I had never gone to it before, but it's a beautiful gay restaurant, club, and resort. You can actually spend the whole weekend there with your partner. I had never gone before. Very, very classy place. We were both really impressed. Dinner, they had like filet mignon, but then they also had things like pizza. You know, you could go anywhere from like $10 for dinner to like $75. You know, they had multiple ranges, beautiful fireplace, and then they have a pool outside when the weather's nice. In Pennsylvania, and they have hotel rooms, which are very nice, and they had the room where we went to go see the drag show. I've been to many, many drag shows. This is my friend Dust's maybe like third or fourth. I've gone to drag shows in New Orleans, Atlanta, Savannah, New York City. That was my first Pennsylvania one. It was a lot of fun. It was a Christmas-themed drag show.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's fun, and we had a really good time, and they were very bawdy and not, like, really over-the-top humor. I think they sung a song about butt sex.
Oh, butt sex is my specialty. I love that.
And, well, it was a Christmas song, though.
I know, but even a song about it, that's awesome.
But it was also a Christmas song, so it was a Christmas song about butt sex, sung by drag queens. We were like, whoa. You know, so that it was a pretty good show. Yeah, I need to go to more drag shows because that's very removed from what I was. Because I'm not a drag queen or anything like that. But I really just, like, I enjoy them because I like the comedy of it. I like the performance because it is theater. I enjoy the costumes. I like the comedy of it. And then I think I also enjoy, like, the joy that the people have that are performing, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
You know? So that was one of the things I did that's kind of far removed from my normal life. But yeah. But and then I'm always working on films, and over in October I did a theater production of Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, nice.
Nyack Village Theater. So that was pretty cool. There's no butt sex or anything like that involved in that one. That was just a straight Edgar Allan Poe, pretty straightforward kind of Halloween show.
Yeah, that was a great show.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Do you get out to the theater much?
Not as much as I used to. I used to volunteer a lot. I used to work concession stands at like theater when I was living in the Bay Area and stuff. And I used to go see shows that way and all that stuff. It's been a while. I mean, I took an acting class up here in Reading about a year ago, and I went to go see a production of the Rocky Horror Picture Show that they did here, and that's about it. It's been a while.
Oh, I love the Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's a lot of fun. That's what first turned me on to transvestites. Who knows? I say. Hard to say, but yeah, that was like an film I watched early on. And when I was a kid, I used to go to the movie theater and throw rice and all that fun stuff. Yeah, that was a good thing to do before you're 21 and you go out drinking and you go out to bars and stuff.
Yeah.
Not that I really drink, though. I was thinking this year with New Year's, I went out and I didn't have anything to drink for New Year's. Because I don't typically, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. I live a pretty straight-laced life. In America, we have such a drinking culture,
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a shame, regardless of whether people drink or not, that everybody in America is made to feel like if you don't go out and drink, you're weird, or unusual. That's like the standard,
Yeah. I've been sober 4 years coming up on January 21st after my car accident.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm sorry about your accident, but congratulations on your sobriety. Like I'm saying, I really feel
Thank
like
you so much.
Culture, if you really want to be a rebel, don't drink, smoke, or do drugs, because our society just kind of lays you out and sets you up to become alcoholics in a sense,
Yeah, I mean, I'm already on a diet because I'm pretty obese right now, but I'll get it off soon enough because I did back in 2006. I lost 130 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
My
well, and then obesity, of course, too, is a prevalent thing in our society as well, yes.
Yeah, and
I think, maybe a lot of it has to do with, I guess, poor eating habits, also stress. Living in America can be stressful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
it's been pretty stressful. I mean, recovering from an accident. I mean, one of the side effects is depression, and I'm an emotional eater, and so those two things, you know, just are not a good match together. But that's what happened. I mean, I was pretty overweight when I had my accident from all the drinking I did. And then when I woke up, I weighed 190. When I woke up from my coma, I weighed 190.
Oh my goodness, wow.
Yeah, and I left the hospital at 220, and I've gotten really heavy since then.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I'm glad you're working on correcting that and leading a better life.
Oh yeah.
New Year's resolutions. That's a good one. I've been a personal trainer and I go to the gym like 3-4 times a week typically.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a struggle. To stay on disciplined and stick to like a routine of like eating well and exercising and everything. Because there are a lot of things with eating and with lifestyle that work against you too. Because I think society, not everybody's dealing well with stress, anxiety, depression. Food a lot of times, drinking, drugs, a lot of times kind of fills that void,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got to find something new that kind of fills that void, in your life.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday was pretty bad because I was going through a lot of withdrawals from not having any caffeine or sugar, and it was pretty bad. But now that I've woken up, I feel so much better, and it's just the first day is always the worst day.
Yeah. I hear you. Well, good luck with you on your journey and everything. It's a new year, New Year's resolutions and stuff. New beginning. And you don't need it to be the new year to have a new beginning. Those are all worthwhile things. Sobriety, not drinking, smoking, drugs, getting into a good, healthy routine of eating well and exercising and stuff,
Yeah.
Those are all worthwhile ventures that, everybody should really be embracing. It doesn't have to be the new year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the hardest part for me is exercising because I have metal in my leg and I have arthritis, and it's just hard for me to exercise like I used to,
Well, then you have to just exercise the way you can. If that's a stationary bike, if that's an elliptical trainer, whatever is good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe having metal in your leg, the treadmill might not be a good one because of all that repetitious movement and the pounding onto the treadmill. An elliptical trainer is much more fluid of emotion. A stationary bike, too.
Well, I do the treadmill, but I just can't do it for longer than 10 or 20 minutes.
You might not. Well, I'm saying you might not want to do the treadmill if you have metal in your leg and things like that. Think about the elliptical trainer as well.
The elliptical trainer.
Do you have a gym? I don't know. Do you go to a gym?
We have a gym here in my apartment complex.
Yeah, I don't know if they have one at your gym. I don't know. You have to check. Elliptical trainer. It looks sort of like you're skiing.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Now that's a great one to use, Tommy, because it doesn't put any impact on your knees or your joints.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, like your feet aren't pounding against something. It's a very fluid movement that's not going to put any kind of tension on any of your joints or limbs. So you should give it a shot because it's like, it's a very fluid movement. It's a more like kind of low impact kind of thing. You're not going to get shin splints from it. It's not going to wear on your knees,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I would give it a shot and see how the elliptical trainer treats you. And most of them, they have something that you can use for your hands or just use it for your lower body. So you can kind of almost get like a full body routine if you incorporate your arms into it too,
Mm.
So I would give it a shot because treadmills sometimes for larger people or for people that have had a history of problems with like their feet, their shins, and their knees can be a little difficult,
Yeah.
So I would give the elliptical trainer a shot and see how that feels.
Okay.
Yeah. I personally trained for years, and that's like a nice, like lower impact one. We still put a lot of pregnant ladies on that one too, because when you're pregnant, you don't want to be bouncing around on a treadmill too much either,
Yeah.
So, stuff like give it a shot. And Lips with Finder's a nice one. You know, it actually gives you a pretty good routine. It's more difficult than you think it's going to be.
Mm.
Yeah. You know, it's definitely as challenging as the treadmill, I would say, without really, you know, hitting your joints or anything or your knees badly. So yeah. So I saw that movie Mandy last night. That was the first movie I've actually seen in a little while.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last couple movies I saw were actually in the movie theater. Like I went to go see Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, I heard that's pretty good.
Yeah. That was actually a very good movie. I think it made like $1 billion. I think it's the most popular music biopic ever made or something now.
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't that familiar with Queen or Freddie Mercury before watching the movie.
Really?
Now I'm obsessed with Freddie Mercury.
Wow, I didn't know. Wow, I don't think I've met anybody who wasn't that familiar with Queen because, oh my God, they're just like one of the greats.
Well, you know, I think it was timing because I was probably, you know, they weren't really popular most of my life, you know?
Yeah.
They were kind of before that, so I haven't really come in too many contacts. You know, I've been more of like a Beatles fan and you know, or Elvis or something like that. Queen wasn't as much on my radar, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I had like a vague idea of Queen and a couple of their songs, like We Are the Champions and things that they play on the radio all the time, you know?
Yeah.
And I had a vague idea of who Freddie Mercury was, but I didn't really know that much about them until I saw the movie. And then since then, I've been doing a lot of research on their music. I especially like the music from the 70s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they got popular again when I was like 9, when they were their music was featured in Wayne's World and Encino Man, and so they kind of got popular again because Freddie Mercury had just died at that time.
Oh, really? So Freddie Mercury had just died, and then that's when Wayne's World, I've heard of that, but I've never saw Encino Man.
Yeah.
I've heard of that one. Oh, interesting. Now, the movies that I'm familiar with that have music from them are older movies, Flash Gordon and Highlander.
Oh, yes, Highlander.
But I like old movies, and I really like those two movies in particular, you know?
Yeah, I love Highlander. Classic.
Yeah. Oh, my God, yeah. That's a great song with them. And then I think I was always familiar with their song with David Bowie, Under Pressure.
Yeah.
Because I like David Bowie so much, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I was just kind of familiar with them through things like that. And then I see the movie, right? And it's a very good movie. I looked it up. It's not as historically accurate as maybe we would like it to be. But it definitely contained the essence that was Freddie Mercury, I think, and that was Queen, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting. I like that they didn't really exploit Freddie Mercury, you know, or anything like that in his memory, you know?
Yeah.
I think Freddie kind of gets a bad rap because he died of AIDS and he was bisexual or gay. And I guess he had a decadent lifestyle, perhaps. But how many people we know, you know, that are rock stars like Led Zeppelin, Kiss, Motley Crue, are these heterosexual men that probably had just as decadent of lifestyles, you know?
Yeah.
And they really just got lucky they didn't end up with AIDS, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
So much of life is like luck, you know?
Yeah.
Right? So Freddie Mercury, unfortunately, was just unlucky, and I think how his life ended and stuff. But I don't think he really took any chances with his life or was any more decadent than a lot of other rock stars, you know, in my opinion. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Just rock and roll tends to be kind of like a decadent genre, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I think it's a little bit of a prejudice that everybody gives him such a bad rap, like he deserved whatever he got or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
He was just unlucky, you know?
Well, all these people who make a big stink about something, they all forget the word subjectivity. You know, everything is subjective.
Yeah, we weren't there, so we don't know how hard he was partying. But like I said, most of these rock and roll people, like the Sex Pistols or whatever, the rock and roll, you know, a lot of rock and rollers party pretty hard, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and some of them can't come to bad ends, a lot of them don't. You know, Motley Crue, I think they're all still alive, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The
Keith
Rolling
Richards
Stones.
is still alive. Like,
I know, that's fucking crazy.
Freddie Mercury's dead. Keith Richards is alive. Just like wrap your head around that.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah? That goes to show you how much of life is like luck, and maybe just some people have come from like an amazing gene pool where they're just really, really difficult to kill.
Yeah.
Ozzy Osbourne is amazing that he's still alive and on tour.
Mm-hmm.
Is that amazing?
Yeah, I know.
Oh my god! It's amazing, and he looks pretty good too.
Yeah.
Right?
You can't get a lot of words out of him, but yes.
Crazy amount of drugs and partying, on his history,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's just amazing how some people, and then it's amazing to me that Prince is dead,
Mm-hmm. I know, that's...
7, I think. Yeah, like that I didn't anticipate, because he had been so straight-laced and stuff,
Yeah.
He's such a healthy-looking guy, it's surprising. But yeah, so the new year, I'm going to be working on some new films and stuff. I have some things kind of coming up. I guess I want to give maybe a shout-out to a couple things. Let's see, what is going on? Oh, I'm directing a film based on a short film that I did. I did a short film that went to 30, 40 film festivals and won like 6 awards.
Nice.
Called Attack of the Killer Chickens. And now I'm doing a feature with him. I'm directing, writing it, producing, and starring in it with Cluck Cluck Productions. And we're doing the film called Attack of the Killer Chickens, the movie. We're pretty far along in filming, about 7 days in, starring me, Genoveva Rossi, Edward X. Young, Rocco George, and a whole bunch of really cool people. Lloyd Kaufman pops up in it for a little bit, too. Attack of the Killer Chickens, the movie. Inspired by all the crazy sci-fi and horror films that I grew up loving. Ed said my directing style is if John Waters and Ed Wood had a child, I would be that child.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, and it's a spoof kind of, but we're spoofing like 10 or so different movies. So that's going to be fun for people when they watch it to figure out what movies we're spoofing,
Yeah.
It's almost like Airplane in that regard, but it's like a horror movie. But I like spoofy movies, so I kind of wanted to create my own silly spoof movie. So Attack of the Killer Chickens, the movie. Look for that in 2019. The short's still going to more film festivals. I did it as a proof of concept, and then I got a producer named David Stein, and we ended up forming a production company called Cluck Cluck Productions. And now here I am producing, directing, writing, and starring in a movie. So it's pretty exciting. So that's my big thing that I'm working on right now that's actually occupying a lot of my free time. It's a lot of work. And I was recently in Shakespeare's Shitstorm, Lloyd Kaufman's newest film, based on The Tempest. I always knew one day I would do Shakespeare, and I did, but with Lloyd Kaufman.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else. And then a movie, Teresa and Allison, that I had a small part in a vampire movie, is going to Days of the Dead Film Festival. So that's pretty exciting. It just got completed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a lesbian vampire movie. Or, pretty much my life. No, I'm kidding. My lesbian vampire life that I lead. My secret life is a lesbian vampire. And then I'm working on some other films kind of coming up. Let's see, Black Wake is another one I had a small part in that has distribution now, so people can find that one online.
Mm-hmm.
The Lich is another one I had a small part in that has distribution right now. People can find Into the Outbreak. Toxic Tutu is a movie I have a cameo in. Our director, Joe Nardelli, unfortunately passed away recently.
Oh.
The movie, it sucks. He was such a nice guy, and this was really like a labor of love for him. I met him before the movie was completed. It's kind of a mockumentary of Toxic Avenger, and it stars Melvin, Mark Torkel from the original Toxic Avenger. Lloyd Kaufman pops up in it.
Nice.
I have a cameo. It's a pretty cool movie, and just got a distributor, so people are going to be able to find it soon. Toxic Tutu. So Check that out. I also have a cameo in Death House, which is a pretty cool movie. That recently
I want to see
came
that
out on DVD, Blu-ray, online. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. And Herschel Gordon-Lewis's Blood Mania is now available on Amazon Prime. Herschel Gordon-Lewis's final film before his death.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, are you a fan of Herschel Gordon-Lewis?
I'm vaguely familiar with his stuff, but I forgot that he had passed. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like 86. God bless him. I would say that everybody should check out Blood Mania, his final film. And my favorite film by Herschel is Blood Feast, the movie I think from the 70s, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, Blood Feast.
So I would definitely check that one out. Yeah. And, and things like that. So a lot of things going on, some films coming up, and always keeping myself occupied,
Yeah.
Good stuff. And all that. Have you seen any great horror movies lately?
I haven't seen any of the newer ones in a while and stuff. I saw a lot of the horror movies I've seen last few years. I've seen them at convention screenings and stuff. And I didn't go to too many conventions last year, just to do there was some darkness going on in my life last year, and it's kind of gone away, thank God. But I haven't seen a whole lot of new ones and stuff. But speaking of parodies, though, Kelly Maroney has a new movie coming out called Exorcism at 60,000 Feet, which is kind of an airplane type of a horror comedy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I like exorcisms. I like a good exorcism.
Yeah.
Not a bad one, but a good one, Any movies with exorcisms is always a good movie. I always think, if you're a religious person, you believe in, and if you believe in the Bible, and I'm not saying everybody has to believe in the Bible or be religious, but if you do, possession and exorcisms is a natural occurrence.
Yeah.
It happens. I'm going to say this, that I would say I'm a spiritual person. I don't think I prescribe to any particular religion,
Yeah.
Okay. But I would say I probably believe in demonic infestations. I would say I believe in ghosts. I believe in spirits. I believe in exorcisms. Recently, I'm also a professional tarot card reader.
Oh, yes.
And I do tarot card reading. I do palm reading. I do runes. I do crystal ball gazing, a whole bunch of stuff. I do this professionally. Travel all over. This Halloween, I did a bunch of parties, but the one that was really exciting was one in Utica, and they put us into the Utica Hotel for the week while I did some parties in that area. And the Utica Hotel is this beautiful hotel that dates back, I think, to 1912. Theodore Roosevelt has stayed there. Mae West, who I love, has stayed there. Amelia Earhart, the first one to attempt to fly around the world, but was lost. A whole bunch of celebrities, baseball players, all these amazing people have stayed at this hotel. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful high-end hotel that's been around since 1912. Supposed to be haunted, of course. I would have to say that any piece of architecture that's that old would have to be haunted, right?
Yeah.
So, rating just probability. So 1912, and I was on the fourth floor. That's supposed to be the most haunted floor. My two associates working with me as psychics went into the room. It smelled funny, like cheap perfume or something.
Yeah.
To switch out. Later on, I found out that we were on the fourth floor, which is the most haunted floor in the hotel, which just had the most paranormal activity.
Wow.
So, interesting, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so you wonder what that smell might have been. And as soon as Bettina told me that, she's like, "Oh, our room smelled like cheap perfume," I'm like, "Oh, it was probably demonic infestation."
Yeah.
Probably was that one. You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
I like to think that if demons were infesting your room, they would be wearing cheap perfume. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they'd be wearing. And nothing else. and then they'd be hanging out in your hotel room, like the Hotel Utica. But it was pretty interesting. I didn't see any ghosts or apparitions, and I was there even on Halloween night. But I was looking, though. I was looking.
Yeah.
Have you witnessed any paranormal activity?
Oh, yeah. Since coming back from my accident, I've had a couple of them, mainly in the stand-up comedy world, because I've been a stand-up comedian 13 years almost, and and I've been to the Comedy Store in West Hollywood, and that place has been haunted because it used to be a mafia-owned club back in the day, and there's people that were killed there and stuff.
Oh, wow. Well, like I said, I think any building or structure, or even, place, that has a certain amount of age to it, which is most places, probably has, I think, some spirits or ghosts associated with it,
Yeah.
Because, death is a natural part of life, and almost every place probably has had someone, pass,
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just, you gotta think of the probability of things like that,
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's interesting. So, mafia hits going on there.
Back in the day, yeah.
Back in the day, so not recently.
Oh, no. Not for, 50 years, maybe even more than that.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
There you go. So, yeah. So, have any questions for me?
Let's see. What color are your toenails painted?
Oh, that's a good question. My toenails are pretty much, clear right now. They're just, regular.
They're just regular?
Yeah, they're just like my toenails, pretty much. They're all, buff and filed, and they look pretty cute, but they're not painted any particular color.
Oh, nice.
That's the thing. I don't always paint my nails and my toes colors, because as an actor, sometimes I'm involved in a couple of different films simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
And if you paint your nails black and then pink, you have to match that, when you're working on films.
Mm-hmm.
And that's annoying. And I don't want to have to be like, oh my God, what color was my nails when I was working on that movie, because then I have to go back there and film more. And then I have to repaint my nails again,
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't realize that the things like that are, really big, matching things. You have to keep a pretty consistent appearance as an actor, especially some of these movies that we worked on were in production for sometimes months and months,
Yeah.
And you want to make sure your haircut looks about the same, your hairstyle looks about the same, your fingers and toenails look pretty consistent, and you're maintaining pretty much the same weight,
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to, show up and you're 50 pounds heavier than you were. And your hair is pink now. And it's short. Okay. Your nails are purple. It's just like you want to try to keep a certain consistency in your appearance,
Yeah.
So I don't always, do a lot with painting my fingernails and toenails.
I interviewed this one actress. She did this movie, and she had white French tip toenails that looked very cute, and my gay side really set in when I saw them. And I asked her about it, and she told me the makeup person gave her a pedicure, and the director told her to make it white French tip because it would be good for the character, because the character has money and everything, right? And she told me that, oh God, she said as soon as the movie was over, she couldn't wait to get that polish off because she hates that color.
Oh, yeah, see, it's part of your role. And sometimes when you go out for films, they frown upon you having your fingers or your toenails done because it might not match the character that you'll be playing when you come out.
Yeah.
It's kind of just it's an added level of tediousness if they have to actually remove your fingernail polish and your toenail polish and put new stuff on,
Mm-hmm.
Because that's an extension of your personality and your character, how you have your nails painted. And that's a good point. Having the French tip nails denotes a certain kind of class. Having black fingernails probably denotes a certain kind of social group that you might belong to,
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize it. That's why tattooing is not a good idea if you want to pursue acting either.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's once you have a bunch of tattoos, your flexibility for playing like a millionaires in a film, or maybe playing somebody from 200 years ago, or playing a soccer mom or whatever, just you might not get cast with that look,
Mm-hmm.
It limits you in what you can end up doing, especially a lot of period films, because having tattoos, especially for women, is a more current thing. So what if the movie takes place in the 70s? What if it takes place in 1870? You're not going to really want somebody with tattoos, so you have to be really careful with that kind of stuff. And then having your hair dyed funny colors. Like, I love pink hair and all the fun colors that people do, but then that's like very limiting on what kind of characters you'll be cast as,
Mm-hmm.
You almost have to have like a certain genericness to your look to be an actor,
Yeah. I just auditioned for a movie. I hope I get it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
The horror movie?
Yes, it is.
Good. Good for you. Good for you. I hope you get it too. Awesome.
Yeah. I don't just want my name in the credits because I contributed to the Indiegogo, but I would love to be in the movie as well.
Oh, yeah. So you contribute to the film, and now you audition for a role as well. So you're all over that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I hope you get it. And you're out in California, you said?
Yeah.
How's the weather today?
The sun is out, but it's fucking freezing cold.
How cold?
It's probably about, 45 or 50 degrees.
What part of California are you in?
Redding. It's a little...
Okay. Where is that located?
It's just 2 hours away from Sacramento and 6 hours away from LA and 3 hours away from the Bay Area. It's this little redneck town that I had to go to because the Bay Area made me and my mom homeless.
Too expensive?
It's too expensive, yeah, and I can't stand it over here. I want to be in LA so bad.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. LA is a beautiful city. It's an expensive city, but it's a beautiful city.
Yeah.
So save your money and hopefully head over soon. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'd like to go on another trip there, do some more work out there. I'm in the New York City area. It's probably in the 50s, I think, today, maybe the 40s. So not that warm. I love the weather in LA. That's one of my favorite features, my favorite things about LA.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to have that kind of weather and be at the beach most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice. And maybe you get tired of it, who knows, and you miss the seasons changing. But as someone that doesn't live in that kind of climate, it appears to be very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, any other questions for me?
Let me see. Are you ticklish?
Yes.
Yes, me too.
Very good. Yes, I am ticklish. Very interesting.
I got this really funny joke. Oh my god. I tell it all the time. Okay, get ready to be offended.
Yeah? What's the joke?
Alright, Cinderella is about to go to the ball, and she's on her period. And the fairy godmother gives her these magic tampons and says, you have to be home by midnight or else you'll turn into a pumpkin. And Cinderella's like, okay, mother, I will. So 12:30 rolls around, Cinderella hasn't showed up. Fairy godmother's pacing around the house, pissed off. And then 4:30 in the morning, she shows up. And Cinderella is drunk, she's stumbling. And fairy godmother's like, where were you? You were supposed to be home already. And Cinderella's like, I'm sorry, fairy godmother. I met this great guy and we danced all night. His name was Peter.
Interesting.
I love that joke.
And where did you hear that one?
I can't remember. I heard it a while ago.
Cute. Very nice. I like how it played into the whole fairy tale element.
Yeah.
I like fairy tales. I I'd like to be in a movie that was based on a fairy tale. Did you ever see a movie? I love fairy tale movies. Like, I don't know if you ever saw one that I really like, Company of the Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
Based off of the Red Riding Hood. Like that. Good movie. And there was a nice version of Snow White I saw once with Sigourney Weaver. She plays like the evil stepmother, the queen.
I didn't see that. Wow.
Oh, it's really good. I think it's called Snow White, and it has Sigourney Weaver as the evil queen. You know?
Huh. Is it like in the last few years?
Oh, it's pretty old. I think it might be like 15, 20 years old.
Huh,
Old movie.
Can't believe I don't know that one, huh?
I'm really into fairy tales and folk stories, so I tend to seek out movies that have that kind of theme. So I think I end up finding on Amazon or something like that, or maybe it was Netflix, and I sought that out. And I'm also a big Sigourney Weaver fan. I like Sigourney Weaver a lot. You know?
Mm-hmm.
She's not really in too many bad movies. You know, I like everything that she's pretty much been in. But it's a really good interpretation of Snow White, and she's like the evil queen in that. But it's like it's kind of like a sympathetic version of it, because it's like in this version, so she's the evil queen, but she has this weird relationship with her mirror, and maybe the mirror that she speaks to, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all, you know? Mm-hmm. Maybe the real source of evil in this particular version is the mirror, and not even her, you know?
Yeah.
It's a pretty good version. I would recommend it. It's definitely like a horror movie, but with this beautiful kind of fairy tale imagery. I really like that as a genre, like a horror fairy tale, because you don't realize it, but these original Grimm's fairy tales, a lot of them were pretty horrific when they were originally told. They were told, I guess, to scare children to behaving, and they were like these morality plays, you know?
Yeah.
You know? And people kind of forget that now, because we watch the Disney ones and we think they're all like so cute and fuzzy, you know?
Yeah. Do you remember?
Usually they were dark.
Do you remember this horror movie that came out in the mid '80s called Dead Time Stories?
No, I don't think I've ever seen that. Dead Time Stories. What's that about?
This guy is telling these stories. He's telling these fairy tale stories to his young niece, and they're all classic fairy tales set in a modern day 1980s setting. And
oh wow!
I interviewed the Little Red Riding Hood in the movie, Nicole Picard. Nicole Picard was gorgeous and hot back then, right? Now she's very obese and overweight, and she's very bitter, I'll tell you. And I had a really good like first half interview, and then the second half she got really like weird on me. It was crazy. And she's the only guest who has ever denied my Facebook friend request and blocked it.
Oh wow.
She was weird. But it's a good movie, I'll tell you. And there's also like a Ma Barker version of Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a really interesting horror anthology movie. It's really underrated.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't think I've ever even heard of it, to be honest. Interesting. I'll have to check that out. And you got to check out the Snow White one with Sigourney Weaver and let me know what you think of that.
Yeah, I can't believe I had never heard of that one.
Yeah, like I said, Sigourney Weaver is like really good. And that she's really good in everything. I love Sigourney Weaver.
It's funny, back in the 60s, Leslie Ann Warren played Cinderella in this TV movie, and she still gets recognized for it to this day. And she was like 18 when she played her.
Oh, wow. Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, certain films are just kind of iconic. They kind of stick with you forever, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, you know? And then, yeah, it's very interesting. And you've seen Company of the Wolves, you said, right? The Red Riding Hood with Angela Lansbury's grandma?
Yeah, no. Neil Jordan made that.
Exactly. I always think that's a really beautiful kind of fairy tale-ish movie, too, because I love the imagery of it, you know, straying from the past, meeting, the man in the wood,
Mm-hmm.
It's just interesting. It's kind of like almost like a coming of age story. It's kind of like a sexual awakening,
Yeah.
kind of story. It has a lot of interesting parallels and stuff. I think that's a really good movie. I like the imagery of it. The actress in that was really good. You never seen her or anything after that, though.
No.
That happens a lot in acting. That you see somebody and they pop up in a movie and they're really good, and then you just never really see them again. I think it's just that for some people, acting it just doesn't end up being a good fit for their personality. They end up doing something else,
Yeah, like do you remember Rainbow Harvest?
Oh yeah. I was thinking of her, Mirror Mirror, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she's another one that comes to mind because I thought she was really good in that movie, and you thought you would see her in other things after that. She was almost like the indie Winona Ryder. She reminded me a lot of Winona Ryder and Beetlejuice in that. But then she didn't really pop up in things afterwards. I guess it just didn't suit her personality. She's probably like a veterinarian or something now,
Well, I do know she's married. I found her on LinkedIn, but she never responded. And she did do two things. She did a coming of age movie back in '84 called Old Enough, which I love and I recommend it. It's a great story. And after Mirror Mirror, she did this movie called this made-for-TV movie called Teen Angel, where she dies in 1961 and then comes back in 1991 to help her best friend's teenage daughter. And after that, she got out of acting.
Interesting, yeah. It's not for everyone, it doesn't fit everybody's personality. They say the average actor lasts 2 years and then, moves on to something else,
Yeah, or they just, prefer theater,
Or you might prefer directing or some other element. Some people maybe go into writing. Some people go into different avenues of film. Some people, you think their career ends, but they just went into something completely different,
Mm-hmm.
That maybe, a lot of people thought Mark Hamill from Star Wars wasn't doing anything for years, but it turns out he was doing voice acting in cartoons.
Yeah.
Which pays really, really well, but no one sees your face, They don't realize it's you.
Yeah, oh my God, did you hear that, he charges $200 for an autograph at conventions?
Oh, wow, well, I guess he's worth it. He was in Star Wars.
I know, but that's just really nuts. That's really nuts.
Yeah, people should charge all different kinds of, money for their autographs, so I guess that's up to you and your popularity. When I do conventions and I sign, I do the standard autographing fee of $20.
Yeah.
That's pretty standard, I would say, and then people go up from there,
Yeah, I just wish everyone was charging $20, And when I get my foot in the door, I wouldn't say protest because I don't like protest, but I'm going to raise some stakes about that,
Well, for me, I like $20 because I feel like everybody could probably afford that more or less, and you do want to make sure that you're affordable to everybody because you have fans of all different stripes. Some people make $100,000 a year. Some people might make $10,000 a year. But you don't want to price anybody out,
Yeah, well, there's people. Well, like I said, Mark Hamill, he's one of those guys who prices everybody out because not all of his fans are rich,
Yeah, it's tough. I could see it that way because you do want to be affordable for people. But at the same time, I guess he was in Star Wars and he doesn't really want to devalue himself or whatever by charging less than that. I heard William Shatner charges quite a bit too, but
Yeah.
obviously he's a big deal, so I guess I can kind of see it. What people, everybody's different. And I know Sigourney Weaver and Sylvester Stallone, they go and they sign at New York City Comic Con, and who knows how much they are. I'm sure they're expensive,
Oh yeah, the Rhode Island Comic Con.
Oh yeah, well they also do New York City Comic Con. Yeah.
No.
That's a big one. A lot of big celebrities do that one. I guess it's up to you, and and also too, you never know. It could be up to their managers too. Sometimes your manager makes those kinds of decisions, and not you as a celebrity.
Yeah, I think that's wrong, but that's me. So.
Well, well, your manager, traces you in a certain way and things like that. So, what are you going to do? What your day rate is, what your autographing fee is, blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know, maybe that's it. But, being in Star Wars is a pretty big deal. So I guess I could see how that would happen.
Yeah.
They are like these iconic movies and stuff,
Yeah.
Sad to see Carrie Fisher gone. I miss her. There was some big news online. I don't know if it's real or not, but they say Carrie Fisher supposedly had an affair when she was a teenager with both David Bowie and Freddie Mercury.
Well, that's okay, because it was the 70s and she was young.
Well, exactly right, and good for her, because they were both cutie pies. So, I don't know, if I had the opportunity to have an affair with Freddie Mercury and David Bowie, I would jump on that bus, right? So I can't blame the girl, you know what I'm saying? I can't blame her. And she was a cutie pie, too, so I can't blame them for having affairs with her either,
Mm-hmm.
You only live once, make it count, have fun, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, I can't criticize that, because people a lot of times criticize women, their sexual conduct, but I can't criticize that. We're put on this earth for a limited amount of time, have fun. If Freddie Mercury was a nice-looking guy, especially in the 70s when she had an affair with him. He was totally my type in the 70s. That long hair, those painted fingernails, those tight little spandex outfits.
Yeah.
I would have had an affair with him in the 70s,
Yeah.
And then David Bowie, being so beautifully androgynous, I would have had an affair with him in the 70s as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? I can't fault her. If anything, I'm jealous,
Yeah.
But, I could hop in a time machine and have affairs with both of them.
Have you ever had a threesome?
Maybe. Have you ever had a threesome?
Oh, I've had my share, including one with a scream queen and her husband, but I won't say on air who.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I would definitely be open to having a threesome if I could hop in a time machine with Freddie Mercury and David Bowie. I'd be open to that.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I could find guys that look pretty much like me. I would.
Well, you could sure find.
You, a scream queen, and her husband. That's interesting.
Yes. Yeah, because I had met them at a convention, and then I went to another convention several months later, not even knowing that they were going to be there hanging out, and they asked me if I wanted to join them, and I said, oh, fuck yeah,
There you go. So that's nice. Well, good to be invited to those kinds of things, I guess. Yeah, it's good to have people ask. That's flattering. They thought well of you, I guess, They felt comfortable with you,
Oh yeah, because when they wanted to do it, when I first met them, but I was with my brother that weekend, and he's a really bad alcoholic, and I had to babysit him and shit, and so it wasn't possible that weekend. But fortunately, I got to do it, 4 or 5 months later.
It was meant to be.
Yes.
Meant to be. So interesting. But then I'll be speculating in my mind who could be. I'll be going through pictures later.
Oh no! I'll tell you, Genoveva. I'll tell you, Genoveva. Don't worry.
But not on air.
Not on air. No.
No. We got to keep. What do they say? A gentleman never kisses and tells.
Yes. Exactly.
That's a good way to be. You don't want to kiss and tell. You got to keep some things discreet. And then don't tell people, because then when someone writes your memoirs years from now, they can speculate and make all this up and put all those juicy details in. Don't give it away for free. Wait until your book comes out about your life and then put it all in there then.
Yeah, no. I haven't told anybody, but you I will, because I trust you.
Okay, I won't tell anyone. No one will ever know.
Awesome.
But yeah. But that's interesting. Well, people should be open to that kind of stuff, I would imagine, if that's what speaks to your soul. Because, what did Mae West say? Mae West used to say,
Huh. That's interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, if you're familiar with Mae West, she was like an actress back in the day. She died in the early 80s.
I love Mae West.
7. Yeah, Mae West, yeah.
Yeah, she was like the horniest chick that ever lived.
Yeah, she had a boyfriend for 20 years that was 30 years younger than her.
Mm-hmm.
So she's my hero. Love her.
Yeah.
Well, you know, hey, if you're 87 and you still want to get it on, I guess you got to find like a nice young spry guy, you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was a horny lady. What do they say? Well, a famous quote from Mae West is they came to her house and they saw that she had mirrors all over her walls and her ceiling above her bed.
Oh.
She was a senior citizen at this point. She was like in her 70s. I said to her, "Why do you have these mirrors everywhere?" And she's like, "Well, I like to see how I'm doing."
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, God bless her. Well, that goes to show you that you can be sexy and sexually active really at any age. You know, you should be if you'd like to be, you know?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God. Yeah, I wanted to let you know, hun, I haven't forgotten about you. I still jerk off to your belly button.
Oh, there you go. Interesting.
And because of
guy, Tommy.
and
I don't think I've ever jerked off anyone's belly button. But that's cool.
and because of you, my belly button is full of dead babies.
Well, they're not dead babies, really. They're just sperm.
Yeah, but they're all girls.
They're all girl sperm? I think your sperm would probably be male.
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. What to say? Well, any final questions before we wrap up, dude?
Yeah. So do you have it? Okay. You mentioned the stuff you're about to do and everything, but do you have anything coming out?
Oh, bunch of things you can check out. Oh, one thing that just went on Amazon Prime, I think yesterday, is a movie that I'm in called Blood, Slaughter, Massacre. Is on Amazon Prime right now for a certain amount of time. You can watch it for free if you're an Amazon Prime member. Blood, Slaughter, Massacre. It's kind of like this artsy horror film. It's about 2 hours long. I play a porter in it, and I pop up through a couple scenes. It's pretty cool. So you kind of check that out on Amazon Prime. What else am I on Amazon Prime that you could check out, you know, this weekend or today? Also, an Apocalypse Kiss. I'm pregnant in that, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
With Tom Atkins, Michael Berryman, and a whole bunch of other cool people. And Bible Belt Slasher. Watch that. What else am I in? And Not Another Bad Horror Flick is a short film I star in as an evil witch, or myself, depending on how you look at it. Not Another Bad Horror Flick is also on Amazon. A whole bunch of films that I'm in, actually. Herschel Gordon Lewis's Blood Mania is also on Amazon Prime. So there's a whole bunch of films that you can check out that I'm in that were released fairly recently. They're all available online. I have a cameo for like a quick moment in Death House, and I think that's on Amazon Prime now too.
Yep.
I've starred Kane Hodder, DeGrasse, Barbara Cranston. So there's a huge amount of things that you could check out, you know, with me in. And any questions, check out my IMDb, Genoveva Rossi, GENOVEVAROSSI. So I would think about 40 of my films right now have distribution that you could find them online, you know.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, awesome. And then another film I know that's just getting edited right now and should be out hopefully this year is Adam Albrandt's Betrayer.
Betrayer.
My third film with Adam Albrand. I was in his film The Sadist, Hunters with Linnea Quigley,
Nice.
now Betrayer. It'll be my first time playing a hooker in a movie. Took about 100 films, but I finally got to play a hooker.
Wow.
Ever played a hooker before?
No, I know people who have, like, Sadie Katz has.
Oh, yeah, you know, it's oftentimes for women, like, your first role is a hooker. But for me, it's like my 100th role is a hooker. I don't know how that happened. I know at some point I would get around to playing a hooker in a movie, and then it happened. I'm a hooker in a movie. So, that'll be coming up this year, Betrayer. So, okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Tommy, and Happy New Year, and best wishes to you on all your New Year's resolutions.
Yes, Genoveva, thank you for being on my first podcast of 2019.
And hopefully this will be an amazing year for you, me, and everybody listening. Okay?
Okay, and we'll talk again soon.
Exactly right. Take care now. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Genoveva Rossi. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Genoveva. You are just fucking awesome. You're like one of the guys. I love talking to you. And thank you for being so supportive and kind to me. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.